Hey guys, welcome to the live. I'm in a totally different, well, not totally different. Why is this warm? Oh, it must be the lights. Okay, so give me a second and we'll get started. I'm going to do not the superest latest routine, but hey Gwen Stacy. Let's see. Oh, I hope you're well. I'm in like a different location today than you. Well, not really different, but as I said, same, but different. So we're going to do, I might give you guys a little bit of a choice tonight over what we're going to read. Hello, Skynet, Cyberdin, Flying Clean, Quixotic, Cosmic Runs, Deanna Artearo. Ooh, I cannot pronounce your name there, my friend. Tony Forte. Hey, Maury Landry. How are you? Hey. I've been alive a lot today. Yesterday, I finally actually went for some therapy. It's been a long while, but I've finally been put on a wait list for some trauma counseling. I might tell you guys a little bit more of the story of why I'm in Winnipeg right now, why it's kind of been a little bit all over the place. We had to leave a really unsafe situation, and so tomorrow I'm going to be launching a GoFundMe just for us to go back to Toronto and come back with a few things. Hi, Mooney Beats. And Skynet, Cyberdyne. Oh my gosh, Skynet. We are living in a kind of Skynet kind of world right now, aren't we? Unfortunately. I mean, I love tech. I do love tech, you guys. I grew up around tech. But what we have right now is very different. I'm in, well, not exactly Saskatchewan. I'm in Manitoba. So, as I said, same, but different. We went to the art gallery yesterday here in Winnipeg, and it was really great. It was free Wednesday nights. I'm probably going to maybe... Oh, hello. Thanks, Enjoy My Bullet. I know. Well, I'll tell you guys... Well, I was born here, though, Maury. I have a reason for being here. But what happened to us in Toronto? Okay, so you guys know for a long time... Oh, thanks, Guy. Oh, Al Salon, thank you for the roses. Welcome to the live, guys. Am I from the USA? No, I am from Canada. I am in Canada right now. I do love the world, though. I will tell you that. Big hug. Thank you, El Salon. So if you guys are new, if you guys aren't new here, let me tell you guys just a story of like my background, just to introduce you. I tried to finish this lost horror movie, Iceberg, on YouTube. Ooh. I mean, do you like horror movies, Gwen Stacy? Canada. I'm from the Hey, Ukraine. My dungeon master is from the Ukraine. Enjoy My Bullet. I forget where. We don't like revealing too much about stuff. My worst weakness, probably sugar. And sweetness. I love sweet stuff. That's why I work out. Because I love food. So I need to balance it out somehow, right? Daniel, thanks for the heart me. Much love, you guys. So, I do have to update my live schedule because I realized it's not really accurate. I was doing these late night reads. I am in Central Time Zone right now, so it's 1:16 a.m. here, but it's typically 2:16 a.m. in Eastern Time Zone. But I have done these really late with you guys before, right? From like 1 to like 3 a.m. So maybe we'll do that tonight in Eastern Time Zone. Hi, Ohio. Oh my gosh, I have one of my friends is from Toledo. Is Toledo in Ohio? It's 2 a.m. for you, Gwen Stacy. It's 1:15. Well, it's like 1 a.m. for me. But like, what is time anyways, right? And if you go to the moon, they just have one time zone. And I think on Mars, it's also all of that. Oh, Daniel A, thank you. I love makeup. For me, cosplay makeup is the big part. What is time? Indeed, Booty Beats. What is time? I'm waiting Smallville season. Oh my gosh, I have a trippy comment about Smallville, you guys. Okay. Oh my gosh, what story to tell you guys first? What do you guys want to hear? The spooky story or the more traumatic, personal, psychological story? I'll let you guys know. You know what? This is related. So let me start from the beginning. This is going to be the bad news first, right? And then end with the good news. Good, you're a great storyteller then, Gwen Stacy. Time does fly. We are in the, if you guys are familiar with Terrence McKenna and the Time Wave Zero and like the coiling of time, and if you've read Promethea, which I know you have, Moony Beats, this is literally book 5. This is like end of the world stuff, but like end of the world means the beginning of a new world too, right? So we shouldn't be afraid of ends of things. Sometimes we hold on to things way past that they're them being, we have to learn how to let go, that kind of thing. So you got it, Moony Beats. It's always, every new beginning comes from some other new beginning's end, right? So let's not be afraid of endings, and let's not be afraid of beginnings either, right? What's a cosmic creator? Being a cosmic being, right, of the universe, and then creating from that place, right? Instead of just using templates and copying other people. And it's not to say not to derive inspiration, right? Because you can have multiple Supergirls, right? But you can also have your favorite Supergirl, right? Whether or not it's a Supergirl from the 80s in that movie, that one-off movie, which I actually liked, campy and as well it was, or, you know, the CW Supergirl, right? Melissa, she's amazing. Hi, Zono X, long time. I'm direct gnosis. Oh my gosh, you know your stuff, Moni Beats. Love it. Love it. This is also one of my favorite Supergirl. One of my favorite cosplays is Supergirl, mainly because whenever I'm feeling like really down, or if I'm really feeling really like sad and like I have been feeling that lately, guys. I'm really usually mostly a joyful, positive person, but I've been going through a lot lately, and so I'm going to tell you guys a few stories. And then we're going to go into a quick read for tonight. We're going to finish off the Bombshells story that I read you guys. I love the cover you sent me, Zono X. I actually love a lot of the stuff you send me. And then you send me off on these rabbit holes. And I'm like, oh gosh, now I have to like organize myself to make sure that I get all of these things and have the time to read them too. So where do I want to begin? Spin a little bit. There we go. Mirroring it just in prep. See my fairy mirror behind me too. Oh, I know you know, to all of you guys who have offered to help and been so wonderful, I will mirror this back to you, the mirror behind me. And there's many of us who are not very good at asking for help, right? And there's many of us who don't know how to, like, people want to help or you want to help, but it's like, how can we help in the right way, right? So now let me think. I am in Winnipeg, Manitoba right now. This is my hometown. Am I moving here? Kind of, right? So when I first moved out to Toronto, which is where I've been for the last 20 or so years, it was really under a state of duress in my home world life, right? Hey, Tony Jen. Hi. I'm just letting you guys, was I dancing with Buddy the next day? I'm always dancing. Dancing is like my therapy, you guys. I need to dance. Whether or not people are watching or not, that's why they dance like the universe is watching, right? After the issues, you said yes. So I went dancing. I actually also went to therapy yesterday. So let's circle back. Growing up here in Winnipeg, there was a lot of good things, right? I grew up in the 90s, so of course I had, you know, all of the good fun stuff. Like I grew up with comic books, all that kind of things, right? But it's taken me a long time to come around to the fact that my mother was very abusive. And, you know, I have a lot of like Filipino girlfriends and myself, and we laugh a lot about how like having Filipino moms, like how they like crush your dreams with one fell swoop. Like if you want to be like an actress or a dancer or like something creative, you might as well just be disowned, right? Like you need to be a doctor or a lawyer or something that makes money, right? Yeah, got to enjoy the 90s. Exactly. The 90s were the best to grow up in. I look back now and I was so angsty growing up, but it's because of a lot of reasons, right? So I had a really rough childhood, mainly because my mother was awful. And she still is awful. It's just taken me a long time to come to terms with it. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been in love with somebody or loved someone who really doesn't treat you well, and you stay so much longer and you still love them, but you need to have space, no contact, because it's just hard. I can't. I'm too empathetic and compassionate in that kind of way. And I'm not saying this to be like, oh, look at me, because I've definitely done some non-empathetic and non-compassionate things. But I want to be vulnerable with you guys, because a lot of people think, like, they look at me and go like, oh, like, I feel like the Little Mermaid. That's the girl who has everything. I'm like, but I'm dying inside. But yeah, I struggled a lot with body image, my self-esteem, all this stuff, because of my mother. She would literally call me fat, ugly, and stupid most days of my life when I was little. And me and my sister had to deal with these crazy mood swings from her, where, like, you could literally put like a cup in the wrong place or not wash the dishes exactly the way she wanted, and she would, like, I don't know if I can say this on TikTok, but it was very extreme physically. Yeah. So, like, me being the big sister to my little sister, I protected her as much as I could. Like, everything from, like, shielding with my body to, like, running into another room and, like, barricading the door and all that kind of thing. Oh my gosh. Please no, Leo Paul, I'm going to mute you, because I'm trying to be vulnerable right now. So another thing that my mom did was, and this is the main thing why I left Winnipeg entirely, was because, you know, when you're in those, like, bigger cities or smaller towns, everyone knows each other, right? Especially if you're around the same age group. Even you guys here on TikTok, I've met people who are like, we've probably gone to the same parties before. Like, I went to St. Mary's Academy here in Winnipeg, and my dad was also a professor. So people knew my family. Now, when I was about 22 or so and I was graduating from university, my grandfather was starting to pass away from Alzheimer's. And if you guys aren't familiar with Alzheimer's, you start to lose your memory, and it's really sad. You start to grieve the person already, because at this point my grandfather didn't recognize me. That was really hard. So my dad was visiting my grandfather at the hospital a lot, and this caused my mom to go into this, like, borderline rage, because she couldn't stand the fact that the attention wasn't on her. So she went out and she cheated on him. Had a whole big affair. It was awful. And for a while I felt very guilty, because her going out and cheating on my dad meant that she no longer was bugging me, right? So, like, the pressure was off, because she was finally, like, doing something else besides, like, making my life a living hell. So I was like, whew, some relief. But then I realized what was going on, because she's not a very good liar. And so I was just, like, it was too much for me, the shame of it all. Because I wasn't allowed to ever have boyfriends, right? I wasn't allowed to wear belly tops. My parents, like, they were so strict on me, and my mom especially was very strict. And she would do these things like, oh, these other boys think you're pretty, but, like, blah, 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 blah. We all know that you're not, kind of thing. She was just, like, weird things. I can get jealous. It's funny, yeah. I know, like, you know what, though? To all of you creators and artists out there, I was watching something by Charles, I can't say his last name, but he's a writer, and he says, you know what it takes to be a good writer? A terrible childhood. And I have to laugh, right? Because, like, or you'll cry, but that's what happened to me at 22. So what I did, I was bartending and doing all this stuff here in Winnipeg. I gathered enough of my money. And so after I graduated from psychology and English, and I did my final thesis, all that stuff, I booked a one-way plane ticket to Toronto. I packed 2 suitcases, and I left. I went to an institute for summer broadcast journalism because I wanted to be like Lois Lane, right? Or April O'Neil, a broadcast journalist. But when I did go to broadcast journalism school, I got super disillusioned just because I was a prairie girl, super sheltered. And I'm going to tell you this, you guys, I got rocked in the big city when I first got there. A lot of good stuff happened. Like I was a go-go dancer at government. I got a bunch of bartending gigs. I did auditions. I was in like a few music videos. I changed my hair a lot though, so you may or may not recognize me in things. But that was never why I did anything, right? Not for the attention. I did a lot of the things I did because I feel like I'm a student of life. I'm here for like the experience, to feel what it's like, right? So it's also why I put on Supergirl, because when you put on the outfit, it's like, I want to feel what it's like to be Supergirl, right? So I recommend you guys, cosplay has been incredibly healing for my self-esteem because I felt so uncomfortable being myself that it felt like putting on armor, putting on the cosplay, right? So before I would go live, because I'm a very shy person naturally, you guys. People don't realize that I am, right? I really am. When you get to know me, I'm super not, but I'm definitely. It's hard for me to open up and talk, right? But Supergirl needs humility. It depends, I think, Maury. Great point about dropping the past, because that's what the universe has been talking to me about too as well, right? Because we can get caught in our own victim loops, myself included, right? Where like you have reasons to be hurt, right? This is why I say about depression, like, if your dog passes away, of course you're going to be depressed. It's like these things like grief, they are natural reactions to things. It would be much more odd if you just went out and did everything as normal if something important to you has been lost. But I grew up with a mother who, as I said, was diagnosed, well, not diagnosed, but she said that she had borderline personality disorder, which I didn't necessarily take seriously till recently. Oh, Rocket TG, I like that question, so I'll address it before I continue the story. Have you felt a big difference in your confidence when you aren't cosplaying? You know what? Yes, Rocket TG. You guys on TikTok, I do have to give you guys credit. A lot of people say like, oh, TikTok, it's ruining the world and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, I've had the best live streaming audience on TikTok, and you guys have honestly given me the confidence to just be more of myself, right? And so my lives as me have gone from being less confident to, I think, more confident as I've become more confident in being myself. But you are right, but she can't let it go. And that's why here even, right? One of the first comic books I read, you guys, is this, where Supergirl can't let the revenge go. And she has this whole conversation with Hal Jordan, where Hal's like, listen, Kara, you got to be careful with the whole revenge thing. It can consume you, and then that becomes your identity. And there's the rub, right? Where it comes into looking into your perhaps a painful past, but not getting stuck there, right? There's some of you guys who can read auras too, so I'm very thankful for all of you who have come into my life and brought your energy too as well, and like given your sacred attention over to me as well. Thank you, Tony Jen. It totally does. Is that a first edition? I'm not sure. Actually, this was actually a gift when I used to work at the hospital at UHN. I used to come in early because I was that person who liked to leave early. I'll come at 8 a.m. so I can leave at 4, right? But there was a guy who came in early too, worked in telehealth, and he found out that I cosplayed comic books, and he used to always get comic books of DC, and he would gift me all the female ones, and it was really sweet. I was like, oh, I don't know. It was before I even cosplayed. It was like, but a lot of those gifts I now read you guys live. So that's a fun little commonality there, and I never would have gotten that job had I not moved all the way out to Toronto and remade myself, right? So when I came to Toronto, I reforged myself, right? So I basically disconnected from my old self, which was like straight A student in Winnipeg, super nerdy, all that kind of stuff. I instead became a bartender, go-go dancer, corporate girl, right? And all those parts of me, like I can play them really well, but at the end of the day, they're not really me, right? Now, a blessing of when I moved to Toronto was also me meeting my husband, right? I was a personal trainer. I remember when he was first hired, I laid eyes on him and I just knew, I was like, I'm going to marry this man. And I did. And I remember telling one of the girls at work too, I'm like, he's cute, right? And she's like, he's kind of sexual, right? And I was like, she had a boyfriend too, right? I was like, I wasn't asking for your approval. I was just saying he's cute, right? You could just say that. And also, too sexual, what does it even mean? I'm like, that's perfect for me then, right? And I'm more comfortable being the pursuer because my Venus is in Aries. If you guys know anything about astrology and your Venus placement, if I think someone's attractive, I will tell you. I'm shy, but I can be confident enough to tell you that because I know how important those things are and it doesn't cost anything. So blessings, right? I met my husband, I got my dog, I got a great job, I did all that stuff, right? I got married. I invited my mom to the wedding, right? I invited my dad to the wedding. That was really painful for my dad because my mom brought her new husband, who wasn't even the guy that she cheated on my dad with. It was just some new guy. And even throughout all this, I allowed it, right? So let's fast forward a little bit to like closer to now. Me and my hubby decide that we do want to have kids, but not necessarily just yet. I've been on the birth control pill since I was 16 years old because when I was here in Winnipeg, I volunteered at Clinic with a K, which is actually where I went to go get therapy yesterday. I volunteered in sexual health, crisis hotlines, because I was just trying to help, right? Going through a really tough childhood, I was just like, I want to make sure that no child ever feels the way I felt, and that they can always feel like there's someone out there who's been through that darkness where you feel like you're in the void and you're screaming into the abyss and no one cares. Someone cares. I care. Someone out there is listening. Trust me. Chris Edwards, thanks for, I'm going through a personal story. I'll save questions for when we go into the read part, because there's a reason why I'm explaining this long-winded story and why I'm like in the prairies and not in the prairies at the same time. So me and my hubby, when we got together, we actually both trauma bonded over the fact that we both thought we had a mother wound. Mother wound, for those of you who are not familiar, is if you have like, a strained relationship with your mother for whatever reason, right? My hubby was estranged from his mother due to the fact that she left the family and what he had perceived as abandonment because she left his dad. Now, bookmark that for a second. So to me, I thought that me and my hubby had a similar kind of experience, right? Because his mom left, my mom left, right? But we have now realized that there's more to it than that. The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off and it can be very painful. So going back to how me and my hubby, we decided, we're like, okay, I want to have kids eventually. Maybe. I'm not going to be fussed if I don't have kids, but I'm going to come off birth control, hormonal birth control, and just let my cycles come back to normal, and we can kind of go from there, right? Because I had deemed my period as quite inconvenient, and so did things like the Depo-Provera shot, and would take my pill in such a way that I would just never get my period. I don't recommend that. It put me very out of touch with like moon cycles, with like the natural rhythms of things. Now, a couple things happen here at this point. One, I am not prepared for the amount of psychic intel I got hit with after I came off the pill. So, and this like kind of like brings me back to maybe why I wrote the Dragon Warriors when I was 14, before I got my period, right? I wrote all that stuff, and then the hormones hit. And then everything changed, right? So, and then I took the pill just because I had bad cramps, all that kind of stuff. And then so it's almost like doing that cut me off from a certain psychic part of myself, right? I don't know if I've got to talk to other women about this as well, like being on the pill, not on the pill. One of my girlfriends who's never been on hormonal birth control, when I told her about coming off of it, she was just like, Rachel, I'm so sorry that you were ever on it. I was like, oh, it's okay. She's like, no, like, it's going to be a shift, right? And like, you haven't, like, from 16 to basically 38, you haven't, like, you know, been in touch with yourself, essentially, right? So I was not prepared for the influx of emotions that hit me. You know, taking care of babies, not easy. Oh yeah, no kidding, Gwen Stacy. But you know what? If it happens, it happens. And you know, Wolfie, for example, our doggo, is the most high maintenance dog ever. I had to drop like $3,000 at the drop of a hat because he smashed his face into like the wall once, and like I had the dental thing. Anyways, you know, if you have fur babies, they're expensive, right? At least kids, you can get some sort of credit from the government for some things at least. But every baby's different, right? Some babies are really good. Some babies are really challenging, but they're still your baby. Like, it's one of those things, right? Choose your hard. It's all going to be hard. So choose whatever hard you want to deal with, right? Or you want to take in this game of life. So, but regardless, super huzz. So, anyways, came off birth control. Now, because we weren't careful, we actually did end up getting pregnant. I got pregnant. And I lost the baby. I'm not going to go into that too much because it makes me really emotional. I'm just going to go, like... and it's just one of those things that you didn't realize that you actually wanted something till you lose it, right? So that happened. It threw me off completely. I was teaching dance class for my friend Nora, who's like a ballet dancer, and she wanted me to like I couldn't do it. Like it was really hard. I couldn't do it. So at this point, I decided I really needed my mom, you know? So I was like, okay, I tried to call her, right? I tried to reconnect. I tried to like open up about stuff, right? And she couldn't help but make all the stories about herself, right? Even in this moment, she could only talk about how hard it was for her coming from the Philippines to Canada and all this other stuff. But I was like, Mom, you do realize that you cheated on my dad and then made him sell the house, and you basically ran off with half of the money that I was supposed to use to start a family. And like, because I came out here with 2 suitcases and nothing. I funded my own thing, even though like my mom always assumed that like my dad would just give me money, but my dad's not really like that. And yes, I am very married, and we will try again when it's a bit more, when we're prepared for it, right? So she was just awful to me again about it, and then wanted me to help her get U.S. citizenship so she could buy her own house in Florida and all that kind of stuff. So I was just like, oh my gosh, no. And then all the judgment started to come out from her, and all of the memories came back. I don't know, like I had put all of these memories in a box of her hitting me with like objects and like hot irons and like messed up stuff where she burned my neck before grad and I had to wear chokers all summer. She was always destroying things I loved. So I learned how to pretend to not love things or not to show how I felt about things to protect them. So that I'd be like, oh, I don't care about that. Because she would do this out of cruelty. She did things to hurt me. And it's taken me a long time to realize, wow, like, you're very manipulative and you lie. And so when I talked to my little sister about this, she's like, oh, you know she lies, right? Like, she said that she had borderline personality disorder. I'm like, but I didn't believe her because she was always like using these kinds of things for like almost like excuses. And we go through trauma, our body shuts off those memories. Yes, Chris Edwards. So, and that's the thing about memories in the past and what I relate to about Supergirl, because guess what? Supergirl loses an entire planet. All her friends, all her family, everyone is gone, right? Mooney Beats, thank you for manifest. Oh, I felt that from here. It is sad, right? It is sad. And so that's why I relate to Supergirl, you know? Because in spite of all that trauma, you keep fighting, right? You must. And it's also why Cal means so much to her, because, and I do hope they capture this in the Supergirl movie, this concept of Supergirl was a teenager, regular old teenager living her life on Krypton, no powers, right? Because Kryptonians don't have powers on Krypton. Normal life, right? Then Krypton explodes, right? And to save her dad, because I think Jor-El is Cal's dad and Zor-El is Kara's dad. And Zor-El essentially puts Kara into like a space capsule and sends her to Earth so that she can find Cal, who's already gone there, so that she can take care of him. Because remember, on Krypton, Cal's just a baby when Supergirl's about 14 or 15, right? Oh, Smoochy Boochies, thank you for the cake slice. Oh, you guys, thank you so much. The red sun, you mean the yellow sun, right, Chris Edwards? Because the red sun, the Rao sun on Krypton, the red sun because it's red. I don't know if there's also something they talk about with gravity and other stuff like that. Out of all the superheroes, though, you guys, the superhero family of the Cal and Kara and all them, it's not very fleshed out. Like, why is it heat vision and what? Yeah, of course. I knew what you meant. I felt what you meant. I do that all the time when I write. I'm like, how did I write that? I was thinking something else. So she gets sent in this space capsule to Earth to be with Cal. Now, en route to Earth, her capsule ends up in stasis. So she ends up orbiting the Earth for 30 years. Keep that in mind. So then eventually at the end of the 30 years, this capsule crashes into Gotham Harbor and she comes out all naked and beautiful. I don't know why I guess she would have powers from orbiting the Earth for 30 years, right? Because I think they say like the yellow sun radiation has to like build up in you over time for it to express it, right? So she comes out naked and wonderful and she's looking for Cal, right? And so like Batman, of course, being suspicious, is like, this lady, she thinks she's claiming she's your cousin. Yes, Chris, she absorbed the power. Yeah, right. I am excited for the movie Prince of Wales. I'm a little concerned just because of some of the comments that Matt Hatter, thank you for that. Year of the Horse. Thank you so much. I love horses. It's a sparkle pony. You made my life. I love that too. There's a movie called Naked Mama. You got my attention. Hey. Okay. Oh, you guys are really sweet. I really do appreciate that. Like, as I told you guys, my mom used to call me ugly all the time and fat. So like, I take every compliment very like, oh. So Supergirl crashes in the harbor. Batman's like, this chick, she's claiming that she's your cousin, Cal. So there's this whole thing of like, is she, isn't she, that kind of thing. But in the end, Superman and Supergirl are tight because they're the only two left and their family, right? And that explains the reason why Superman is Superman and Supergirl is Supergirl. And technically, Supergirl is older than Superman, right? But she was in stasis at like 16 years old for 30 years. So she's technically like more 46, like my age, right? Which is kind of weird when you think about it. And because she was in stasis for 30 years, that gave Superman the opportunity to grow up and become a man, right? And the last time she remembers him is like a crying, annoying baby that she has to babysit, right? So it's kind of this cool, this interesting idea of like stasis. And then if you guys have seen the movie Inception, like how time passes and then your children become older than you. And that's what I think sometimes happens even with our parents when it comes to soul families and soul tribes, where you as a soul may be quite ancient and thus older than a lot of people that are older than you. So I've felt that. Although I'm very young at heart, but I realize the importance of that, right? Because as someone who spent so much of my childhood so serious and like angsty and like worrying about everything, right? Oh, Prime, all you guys. So that's how Supergirl comes to be, and why I also relate to her, where like you have this traumatic past and now you're on Earth. Now you have powers. And now Cal, your baby cousin, is now all grown up and he's this world's superhero. So you're like, I don't really belong here. And that's where I get where Millie says in that line, like, you understand, I have no people. They're gone. It's me and Krypto. Krypto's another story too. Krypto's not Supergirl's. Krypto is Cal's. It's Jor-El's dog, really. And I'm okay with the rewrite. I'm okay with it. But that's this universe, you guys. Krypto's mine in this universe. Wolfie's mine, but he's really Superman's. A boy and his dog. It's a very classic trope of on that journey. There is still Kandor. And in some worlds, universes, where they have like Kandor essentially orbits the Earth for a while, and then you end up with like, I read you guys a story called New Krypton, where all the Kryptonians come to Earth and you have a whole bunch of Kryptonians. And let's not forget, they're bad Kryptonians too, like General Zod and other people. And General Zod also maybe wasn't all that bad. If you guys have watched, oh my gosh, what was the TV show called again? Was it called Krypton? Yeah. I liked that show in the beginning, and then it got weird. Your cousin Corey is a 2001 baby and I'm a 2002 baby. Hey, and King Poppy, hey, is in the house. I'm just going over a personal story of mine, King Poppy, about why I'm in the prairies right now, and why tomorrow I'm actually going to be launching a funding campaign for us to be heading back to Toronto for a little road trip. So I'll let you guys in on its purpose, born to lead and protect. Oh, yeah. So that's Supergirl's story. Now, when it comes to me, right, I am half Filipino and half South African, right? And I was born in the prairies. So for a big part of my life before my sister was born, I felt very much alone, right? Who's that Wonder Girl? Wonder Girl is related to Wonder Woman, isn't she? I like Wonder Girl, though. Isn't that Donna Troy? Because she's awesome. Of course you can tell me something, Gwen Stacy. Jalapeno. So, myself, I told you guys about all the horrible trauma. So, in all of this, I realized that I lumped my parents together in a lot of ways. And in distancing myself from my mom, I was also distancing myself from my dad. And so I also distanced myself from a lot of that side of the family, including like my cousins in Australia and in South Africa and like other parts of the world. So I've been, my mom, however, would do a lot of negative speaking and gossip to all these people. Oh, I have to go back to the actual traumatic incident that came before we left. Okay, so this happened. I tried to reach out to my mom for comfort after my miscarriage and like feeling awful. She was awful. And then she did something even more terrible. I confided in her about the miscarriage because I didn't want it necessarily to be super public. And I also confided in her about, let's say, a few other women's secrets. And you know what she did? She went behind my back. She showed up at my dad's house. Even though they've been divorced for however long and they've annulled the marriage, she showed up at his house and used me as an excuse and basically tattled on her and tried to basically break my relationship apart. She basically told a bunch of lies about my husband and said that he was some big druggie, didn't like how we were living in Toronto, and that like my dad needed to intervene. So at this point, my dad's panicked, right? Because I don't tell my dad any of these things. He's like super strict and Catholic and stuff, right? So it's just like, I'm mortified at this point because you know my mom, how I found out? First, my dad calls me, leaves me this message, and then leaves me this email being like, I want you to talk to you. I hope you're okay. I don't even have to know that my mom showed up. She leaves me this voicemail being like, Rachel, I went to your dad's house. I know you said not to, but I did. Don't be mad. And I told her, you know what, Mom? I specifically told you this one time, don't do that. And you just do it. You just do everything you want to do anyways. So this is it. I don't want to have a relationship with you anymore, Mom. And guess what, you guys? Even after doing this, she goes on all of my social media channels, like my YouTube, which I'm trying to get up and going with these comic book reads, and leaves these comments, these sickly, disgusting comments like, Mommy loves you. She has never said anything remotely close like that to me in real life, let alone to me as a child. And then being like, you look so pretty, Rachel. But I know what she's doing. She's doing this to control the narrative, right? Because guess what, you guys? All fiction, it comes from somewhere real, you know? And so I'm writing my own book, and I realize now, I'm like, wow, you're the villain of my story, Mom. I didn't want it to be you, and I didn't want to write it this way, but you're the one going out and gossiping. And so now I have to now tell my story, if only just to defend my honor and my husband's honor. And I wasn't going to let her once again ruin something on me because I love it. Like, I love my husband so much. We have like, she's like Ursula in like The Little Mermaid. She like pulls up the dragon, like, so much for true love. And then Eric like pierces her with the boat. Yeah, F you, bitch. Yeah, it's let's see here. Thank you for following, guys. Oh, and to all of you guys who have been through similar stuff, same but different, I got you. Don't worry. Trust me. Thank you, King Poppy. We're gonna flip to my hubby now in just a second. So up to this point, as I told you guys, I thought that me and my hubby had a similar mother wound, right? But it's not the same, because my hubby has told me stories about, like, you know, movie nights with Mom, and like having Mom like take you in a big hug and you'd be able to like nestle into her boobies, right? And just like the smell of Mom, and like knowing you can always come home, right? I never got that. Ever. Never, ever. So I told him, I'm like, you know, babe, it sucks your mom left. But like, I never got what you got in the beginning, so I didn't really get to miss what was happened when she left. I actually felt guilty at the fact that I was happy that she was cheating on my dad because she was leaving me alone for freaking once. So me and Kevin realized like our scenario is not exactly the same. But here's the thing. After this whole miscarriage thing, after like me reconfiguring myself, being like, I can't work corporate anymore, I can't do this anymore, I have to live my truth, I have to write books, I gotta do the creative artist thing, I gotta do the starving artist thing, I have to, no more. I can't be untrue to myself anymore. So of course this is a transition, right? Because rent in Toronto is like $2,000 at least, and it's already gone up more, right? So And that's 2,000 just for like a studio, you guys. Like, thank goodness I'm like married and stuff. You can share the load. But you know what too, that is also why a lot of people stay in abusive relationships too, right? Because you can't afford to go anywhere. Where are you gonna go? Like, there's shelters and stuff, sure, but like literally you're stuck, right? And in many cases, if you're with someone who's narcissistic too, they'll also do a lot of like isolating you, so that they make sure that you depend on them for sure, right? Anyways, so I'm prefacing this with the fact that me and my hubby had to go stay at his dad's place, right, for a little while, because we were just trying to figure things out. Because I have a movie, as you guys know, that I'm trying to work on, as well as a book. The movie that I'm working on is called Escape from District 6, which is a spiritual successor to John Carpenter's Escape from LA and Escape from New York, where District 6 is Toronto, and have all the districts named after the major cities, where District 1 is Los Angeles, District 2 is New York, District 3 is London. I forget how I have it mapped out, but I have it mapped out because the nefarious bad guys have basically clamped down on all the big cities and erected, like in Highlander 2, this big dome. But it's like a light dome, so that no natural light comes in and they can control reality. Now, Dragon Warriors, we bust through the dome, right? We escape District 6, that kind of stuff. It's a science fiction adventure, but it's also real. So on Indiegogo, I'm actually going to start funding it on, I think, by the end of this month. And it's going to fund for June, July, August. And we're going to start filming in September between Toronto and Winnipeg. Winnipeg has a beautiful, vibrant arts community. I also do want to film in the West as well, Vancouver. I know you guys are out in Alberta. I know you're all over the country, and even in the US too. It'd be really fun to do a traveling road trip and film the movie in all of these different places, but then like edit it in such a way that it's this reflection of this cyberpunk reality that we are living in, but I'm going to make it a musical dance movie, right? Because I love musicals. So Guelph, we'll come see. I love Guelph, actually. I was going to go to Guelph for school, because Guelph is one of the only, I think, relationship therapy courses, because I wanted to be some sort of therapist. But when I got into the system, I got very disillusioned. Pikachu, Pika, hi Pikachu, thank you for that. Lots of love. Okay, so where are we in the story? Windsor. You know what I've heard about Windsor, though, Snoochie Boochies? That Windsor actually has some of the hottest girls in the country. I actually competed in Windsor a few times in bodybuilding, because, all of those places, there's nothing else to do but work out. So, I will definitely use music. If you guys are artists, though, and you want to contribute to that, I will want to pay my artists. So you guys, because that's a big thing that I've noticed about, creatives and stuff. Like, as a project manager in the creative space, it's really tough to like organize yourself and also to ensure that you get compensated, right, for things. OMG, Shell of a Warrior King Poppy Marvelous. I'm gonna cry, because that's like from the movie. I love mech suits. You have no idea. It's true, no big deal. Oh my gosh, Chris Edwards, can we trade these? I would love to. I would also love to help promote your podcast, because that's the big phase 2 of like the movie, right? Is to create a production house. There's actually a production house here in Winnipeg called Eagle Studios. And this is why I haven't gotten any grant money from the government either, right? Because my movie's going to be very subversive to the government. Stoogie Boochies, yeah, Moonwalk. Oh my gosh, thank you. You guys are sending the best gifts today. Thank you. Thank you guys for actually liking this story. I was just like, I always read you guys comic books because I'm comfortable with like my own story, because then I always end up crying. But it's a good thing to let it out, you guys, because I will tell you this, and this is advice for myself as well. If you don't let it out, it goes somewhere, and it oftentimes will become disease or something like that. Aw, King Puffy, I hope that this summer we'll get to meet in person. And you guys, you are all superheroes to me, because the way the Dragon Warriors and the Knights work are they're you and me. We just forgot. We came down here with a big soul mission. We're like waiting at the top of the cloud to jump into this reality. We jumped into a baby form and completely forgot. Forgot who I was, forgot who you were, forgot what we were doing here. Just got caught up in stupid ideas like the next promotion and licenses and taxes and all this crap that really doesn't matter, right? Gwen Stacy, that does not surprise me. Do you see auras at all? Do you see, or do you kind of just get a feeling about people? Because I get feelings about people, hard. When I meet you in person, I'm way better in person. I love big hugs if you like it. If you don't like being touched, that's fine too. I get it. My sister hates being touched. But I just like being in presence with people. I love when people tell me stories in their own way. I love it when we all watch the same movie and you tell me what you got from the movie, because it's totally different than me. I'll tell something about the side characters usually, because I usually love the side characters and the romance in it, right? But I can feel energies. Oh, deaf. To all the witches. Cheers. And to all of you guys who do the spiritual work out there, thank you. Right, I didn't see some of it. Okay. We're going to get to the really intense part of the story. I'm going to see if I have to censor myself, but we'll see. And if you guys have been through anything like this, I'm putting together some resources for anyone who has ever been the child of, or has a child who is struggling with borderline personality disorder, or even things like OCD, narcissism, mood disorders. They're a very different classification of, let's say, bipolar, depression, or those sect. Although there's relationships, right? Because typically personality disorders it's your personality, right? So be careful with SSRIs or tinkering with your brain chemistry too much, because oftentimes, I'll put it this way, personality disorders are like this. When I went to corporate, working on 333 Bay Street, right, you guys? Come on. At KPMG, working a manager job, I'm wearing my pantsuit and all that kind of stuff. I had to develop a personality for that, right? Corporate biatch personality. And I started to care about things that didn't matter, like gossip and climbing the corporate ladder and this kind of stuff. So I developed this maybe unhealthy personality that was kind of at odds with what my true self was. And I'll say that sometimes for a time it's okay to do that, right? Because ultimately that's a way of protecting your soul, your core self. What I do with cosplay, right? I'm protecting my Rachel Z self with Supergirl, right? So let's see here. I'm just going to address your guys' comments because you guys are being vulnerable right now. And I always think, I had an interview once on my Decrim Nature show, and he was like, well, I have bipolar, and, I've been dealing with it. And I was like, whoa, what courage to admit that. But he was like, because I feel like I have some symptoms of borderline personality disorder just because of my mom, but it's taken me this long to admit it just because of the stigma. Autism or bipolar or schizophrenia, or all of these require much more compassion and empathy instead of us let's say like Britney Spears or anyone like looking and like laughing, like, ha ha ha, at least that's not me. Maybe? Are you sure it's not though? I have anxiety, depression, borderline, PTSD. Oh man, you know what though, Chris Edwards? I also feel like if you're very creative, if you're a writer, if you're a magic user, I feel like a lot of the bleed through comes through too, right? Because emotions are emotion. We don't get to control whether or not it feels good or not. It just does sometimes. And sometimes those extremes, when it's good, it's really good. When it's bad, it's really bad. Just like my breakups and my heartbreak, I remember feeling like, does everyone feel like this? How does anyone do anything? Big Pharma has a hold on minds big time. I worked for Big Pharma too, you guys, right? That's what I was saying when my corporate persona was so at odds with like my real self, right? I used to work for an agency, and you know who my clients were? Novartis, Eli Lilly, Merck, Sanofi. Awful. We had one pharma company that was trying to pass off, it was Merck actually, they're trying to pass off animal studies as human studies in their claims, and our writers found it. There's so much nefarious stuff, I can't even tell you, but I now know though, you know, I feel like almost like I was like on a spiritual covert mission, you know, you going in deep, right? And some of us get lost in there. Right? We lose ourselves in the persona of who we are at work. I think that show Severance talks about that too a little bit, where like your job is not all you are, you guys. You know, you're also sons and daughters, your wives and husbands, your friends, your best friends. You are confidants. You are people who are there for those when there is no one else. Right? Remember, there are going to be things in this life that only you will know how to do. Trust me, the full spectrum of it, it's just like in D&D where like there's a door and it's unlocked and you're the one like rogue on the team who has the thieves' tools. You're not going to let like the barbarian guy just bash the door, right? You're going to hopefully recognize the gifts in your team, and we will know how to deploy those gifts when necessary, right? You are uncommon, very unique. Oh, thank you so much, New Age Times. I also have to give you guys credit too, you know, like anytime I've gone there with the woo, you guys have come with me, and anyone who hasn't, we usually just kick them out. And I don't really need that kind of energy in here, you know? I'm not here for the attention. I'm not here for any of that. It's more just because growing up, when I was going through tough times and all that abuse, you know who I felt were my friends? These girls. And these girls, right? So, and then I grew up and I actually got to meet some of these girls in real life. So, blessings for that. And that's going out to Toronto gave me the opportunity to meet so many different people and make friends that I never, ever would have made being just here in Winnipeg. So, where are we in the story now? Let me make sure I have all the comments here. Powerful energy. Oh, Chris Edwards, right back at you. Typically, I have found that we mirror each other, right? So, right back at you. Trust me. And you know what? You don't realize that all means a lot, because I've had also, you guys, a lot of horrible stuff said at me, you know? You guys, Adrika, thank you for that. Compassion flows in you in ways of light. I was hoping I was crazy so I could change the world, but I'm not. World's full of idiots. I'll put it this way, Snoochie Boochie, like, what is the world? Right? Is the world the buildings? Is the world like, you know, the governments? Is the world the countries? No, the world is like you and me and our friends, our family, our loved ones, our animals, our trees, nature. That's the world, right? And But it's also like the systems within the world. What we choose to believe is reality, all that stuff. And I think all we have control over is us, right? That's why I love working out, because like you can't do anything to make people do anything else. Like my mom was always trying to control me, right? Through many different ways. And I've never been the type of person who liked following rules unless they made sense, right? Because just like when you're playing a game, you need the rules of the game or you have no game, right? Then just don't play the game, right? But rules that are just there to control people just because, well, because I say so. No one gets to tell you. No, that goes for you too. Even if I do that to you, don't let me do that to you. You say like, Rachel, why? Why do you want me to do this? And if that person can explain to you why, and you like, okay, I agree, fine, I'll do it. But if it ends up being more of just like this power play, and I saw this happen a lot in corporate where certain decisions were made just because someone wanted to get credit, or like especially at the hospital when I worked there, you would think that you would do the best to do diligence by the patient, right? You're doing this for the patient, right? I worked in diabetes. This is for diabetes patients. And you very quickly realize it's not about the patients at all. It's about grant funding and money and all this other stuff underneath it. The trauma doesn't go away. I deal with it on a regular basis. That's why I love Nightwing a lot. He talks about that a lot. How like the pain doesn't stop. The trauma doesn't go away. We just get stronger, right? We get better at dealing with it. We develop mental martial arts and emotional maturity in order to hone being what it is to walk through the fire, right? I'll meet you there. Oh, you are also so cold. We all are. I don't know. Oh, you guys. I love you guys so much. It will save your foot. I have a father who has it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my sister's in BC, not Manitoba. Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? It is a sensitive topic. All of this is a sensitive topic. But unfortunately, like, when we stay silent, then we all feel like we're alone. And my allegory to this is like, let's say we're all in a big war, or like the forever war, the spiritual war, right? And we're all like fighting, right? We're like, oh, but then the fog gets really thick, like the mist comes in and it's all dark and we're still fighting, right? But now I can't see my friends beside me, right? I can only see like what's like right here, right? So I feel like that's sometimes what it can kind of feel like, where you feel like you're fighting all alone, but trust, we're here. We're all here. We're all here. But, keep going. I know it will get better. I do. Fam, anyone out there struggling with losing the foot? Oh yeah, it's crazy too. Like diabetes is, I think it's one of the most prevalent diseases in Canada after heart disease and hypertension, I believe. And a lot of it can be helped with, guess what, working out. You know that if you lift weights twice a week, not running, not cardio, I mean lifting weights, so like resistance training, like push-ups or squats or things like that, you actually mitigate the symptoms of diabetes by quite a bit. So if there's anything you want to do to like help with any of that, just lift some heavy-ish up and put it back down again. Running's great. I'm not going to say not to run or do any of the cardio. I love dance for cardio or any of that, but strength training, working your muscles, that can actually help. Hey, cute girls, I don't mind being lifted up. I use my dog Wolfie because he's like 26 pounds now as like weight, to lift up and down. But so that's a great way to help manage your diabetes healthfully. But do you think the system does that? Do you think the system covers personal training? At least like one session for a person a month, just to like learn how to use the gym and stuff like that? No, because I felt the gym was my therapy. Because my mom hurt me so much physically, I was like, you know what? I'm going to build myself up so strong that no one will be able to hurt me like that again. Right? And they can't. They can't. I've done boxing. I can I can throw a punch. I can also run really fast, so I can run away if I need to, right? Who is this gym guy? You're so funny. I know, he's great. So sidetrack, right? So where were we in the story? I had the miscarriage. I left my job at corporate. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure out being creative between Toronto and Winnipeg. So I ended up joining a studio in Toronto called Studio in Kensington Market, run by two great guys, Boris and Alan. Hey, you guys. I'll be back there in June for a bit, but it's like a co-working space for creatives. And so I have a little desk there once a week, as well as it's a big photography studio. So if you need, when I film, I'm going to film some of the indoor scenes and the green screen stuff in that studio. The outdoor stuff I think I will mainly do in Winnipeg because we have a big expanse to do a lot of that, as well as we have like a planetarium, which Toronto is going to tear down their planetarium. You can't even see the stars in Toronto. You need the planetarium. But I know why they're doing that. You have a 2nd degree black belt in karate. Hey, the loon turn. Gwen Stacy, I'm still sad about my cousin Andre. I lost some diabetes, uncle. Oh, wow. So is it hereditary in your family, Gwen Stacy? That's actually in my hubby's family as well. His nana died of diabetes. All of these things hit you, I think, a lot more as you get older, right? Because diabetes essentially is caused by your pancreas. I don't want to say malfunctioning. That's not the correct term for it. But in type 1 diabetes, your pancreas creates no insulin. So you have to take insulin or you'll die, right? I worked with a doctor who lost his son in diabetes coma. He went to sleep and he just never woke up. And that's what happens when your blood sugar drops too low, right? Because we oftentimes talk about type 2 diabetes or your blood sugar spikes, right? And that's not good either, but that's the thing about life. It's about balance. It's not about being too low or too high. It's about finding what that happy medium is, and it's not the same for everyone, which also makes things more complicated. But it's also about, I think, finding communion with your body, knowing that, like, for me, it's timing when it comes to sugar. If you want to eat something sugary sweet, I recommend doing a workout and then eating that sweet donut after that workout, because then you will then replenish your glycogen stores that have been expended. If you spike your insulin when you already have too much sugar in your body's not going to be able to break down all the glucose fast enough, and then you're going to cause a lot of problems in your body. That's really how diabetes works. Frederick Banting, who is from Toronto, actually discovered insulin back in the day. That's why we called our application BANT. So that's a whole other part of my life. However, it's a big part of my life now just because it still goes in with the whole working out and being healthy and all that kind of stuff, right? It's not spiritual health and your body health. I love that. They're actually really related, right? It's not this separate thing. Okay, so I went off enough a tangent because it's almost like I'm trying to avoid talking about certain things. And George Lee, great name. My grandfather's name was George. Okay, I'm just prepping myself for this part because this part's really hard. So we move in with my hubby's dad. Now, remember, my hubby has a mother wound because his mom left. Okay? Now, as we're living here, I start to notice certain ways in how my hubby's dad talks to him. And a lot of symptoms start showing up of like how my mom used to be with me. And I start to kind of have this like internal panic because I know what it's like to be so close and not realize you're being hurt. I don't want to get into too much detail, but essentially what ends up accumulating is his dad starts to act really creepy towards me. Like, creepy. Like, I start to feel really uncomfortable. And as someone who, like, I go dance, I'm obviously, like, my boobs are always out, all that kind of stuff, right? I start trying to feel like I need to, like, protect my energy because, like, I'm getting this, like, weird vibe off you that I never used to get before. So I tell my hubby, I'm like, I'm not feeling comfortable so much around dad anymore, so I'm just gonna, like, kind of stay in the room and, like, write more and just do that kind of stuff, right? Now, this triggers his dad. He starts saying, like, weird crap, like, why is she staying in the room? And, like, this, anyways, just weird stuff. And then it all accumulates into him saying he's been treated awful and then going to the cupboard, pulling out a knife, and then holding it to himself, being like, I'm going to kill myself. Hope that didn't trigger anything in the TikTok algorithm. And he does this in front of my hubby, me, and the dog. Yeah, so then we left. We ran away. That triggered me, obviously, just because, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Suicide and self-harm. I knew it was going to be restricted for 10 minutes. Okay, mental health. It's so interesting. I'm not allowed to talk about that. I knew that would trigger it. Okay, so I've got 10 minutes for it to be restricted. So I'm going to keep going. Yeah, no, you guys, I know. And that shocked me because I liked him. I do still love him. He was obviously going through, this has been going around lately. I had a friend call it spiritual psychosis. But it definitely seemed like some sort of psychosis because his eyes, everything was just not like where are you? Like, do you even see me right now? But, oh, I'm sorry about that, Gwen Stacy. The anger thing people need to get a hold of, right? I think you're right. I think it's spiritual warfare. So I'm going to let you guys in on something kind of crazy, but later, after we get out of this situation. So that happens. At this point, I call my sister, my little sister, and this is why Maury Landry, you probably thought I lived in BC, because my little sister lives in BC. She lives in Vancouver. She hikes in the mountains, never wants to come back to the prairies. She lived in Toronto for a time, but she not at all, right? So I call my sister. I'm like, I don't really explain too much. I just say, Nursa, my hubby's, his dad is starting to express symptoms just like mother. And I didn't have to explain too much. She understood what that meant. So if you're not familiar with BPD, you have a hard time modulating your emotions. So when you're faced with things like abandonment or like anytime you're feeling like threatened in that sort of way, you'll lash out, right? And here's the conundrum. Typically, when this ragey thing happens, you'll go blind, right? And you literally don't remember anything. So how can any remorse, any apology, anything happen when you don't remember what happened. I talked to my friend Laura about this. She's like, but do they really not remember? You know, like, are they lying about that too? And that just, like, maybe, who knows? But it is in psychology true. And I'm sure you guys can attest to this, that when you get very emotional, very angry, very upset, your memory is not, like, it's just hard. Like, it's hard to see clearly. That's just any of it. Oh, yeah, Mooney Beats, they sure do. And so the way I kind of looked at it was like almost like his dad got taken over. I don't know how else to describe it. It was just you were like one person one day, and like now you're nuts. And so now we have to leave. It would have been triggering. Yeah, it would have been triggering for anyone who has ever lost anyone to self-harm, which I have, and to anyone who's ever gone through any kind of attempt, which I have, and to anyone who's ever had a mother who's used the same tactic to control them. So it was triggering on a lot of levels. And I called my sister. She, bless her, she flew to Toronto. She rented a car with me. We packed up the car. We got Wolfie. We got my hubby. And we drove here to the prairies, right? We drove to my dad's house. And we're still in the process of like whether or not I'm going to take over the house or not. I haven't decided fully if I want to own a home in Winnipeg per se. Like, I know like home ownership, whatever investment, but I've always valued my freedom. I like the idea of being able to like, let's just go live in Malta for a year, or let's go to the Philippines, or that kind of thing. Exactly, Maury, right? So so I'm working that out with my dad, but like, and also too, like, I get to hang out with my dad again, right? But I didn't really say anything to him what happened. And the part that's crazy? My hubby's dad was at our wedding. And at our wedding, his dad and my dad shared a room, and they became like good buddies and stuff. I haven't even told my dad like what happened, just because it's horrifying. I don't even know how to explain it. So that happened on April 20th, 4/20. On this day, right, so my sister flew in, and because she's from BC, remember the time difference is crazy. So we couldn't like drive the first day that she came in. She got a really bougie hotel room in downtown Toronto. She took Wolfie because it was dog friendly. She loves him, because who doesn't love Wolfie? And he was happy because he loves her so much. But I got to stay with my sister because I was like, I can't be in that house, obviously, right, after this. And then she asks me, do we need to go get Kevin? Like, very seriously. And I'm concerned too, because I don't know, because like his dad's behavior is erratic, and I'm like scared for him that something may happen. Snoochie Boochie, thank you so much. So, and as you guys know, I get feelings about things, right? I just get a feeling of stuff. So when I went to the hotel room, we had to just pack up our stuff because we had to basically make an escape from the place, because his dad was almost like keeping us hostage. The way he was kind of like, anyway, I can't even, it's bad. So my hubby was like, give me like one last chance to kind of like talk some sense into him, or like perhaps like de-escalate the situation, that kind of thing. I don't at this point kind of like go off on a tangent being like, your dad's got maybe some like issues that need to be dealt with, right? You can tell zonies, or like feelings, or like I can't, like my little sister all the way in BC, I have a story about how I could feel, like I can just feel when she's in trouble. Like, are you calling me? Do you need me? Or I'll call you like, hey, are you okay? I'll be happy if you just tell me that you are. But usually I'm right. And it's good that I call. Anyways, so I'm at the hotel with my little sister. We're like hanging. She orders our charcuterie board. We drink copious amounts of wine together. We're like, all that kind of stuff. But then I get this like feeling in my heart. And I call Kevin. I keep calling. My husband's name's Kevin. I don't like using his real name for various reasons, but so I call him and I call him and he won't pick up. I'm having this like anxiety attack and I'm like worrying. I'm thinking about all the possibilities. I'm like, oh my gosh, did he stab him? Like, what happened? So he finally picks up the phone and he's like, hey babe, but he's upset. And then I'll call you back. But he doesn't hang up the phone. He instead puts me in his pocket. And you know what his dad did? He brought over his aunt. So his aunt comes over and they both gang up on him. And then I hear on the phone everything. And I'm mortified at the way that my husband's been treated by his own family. I am utterly mortified. And I go back to flashbacks of fights that we had and things that I blamed him for that he was never taught. And like it doesn't matter how old you get, no father talks to their son like that. He basically gave Kev like the evil eye, called him like all these names. He called me evil. Yeah. It was awful. And then my husband did something that no one has ever done for me. And that was to stick up for me. Like my dad was basically saying, she's evil, she did all this stuff to me, and I didn't. He just made a whole bunch of stuff up. And he was like, she has to leave, you can stay, but she has to leave. And like, that's my wife. What are you talking about, right? And as soon as his dad realized that he wasn't taking his side, he was after him too. And then his aunt was trying to like mediate it and being like, oh, I can see both sides of the situation. And so finally he's like, he pulled out a freaking knife in front of my wife and my dog. And you don't do that kind of thing. And then you know what his aunt said? Oh, it was just one time. But it wasn't, you guys. Because my hubby said that back when he was 16, back before his mom left, this happened. So a lot of stuff became apparent. The enablement of like, oh, that's how he is. This is just the way they are. That no, it's not okay. We're always as children expected to do better. Why can't the adults do the same? That's, because pretend that we're all kids. We're all 8. You don't get to do that just because you're the dad. Right? Yeah. It does not make it okay, right? Mooney Beats, thank you for the manifesting. Close your back doors. Yeah. It's my... Oh, Maury Landry, I'm sorry to hear that, because the psychological part of it is actually probably worse than the physical part, right? And women can do that a lot more deviously than guys do, because guys fight more in the front, I feel like. And thank you, Sono X. He take the empathy is, oh, I know it's hard, right? I know, that's why I didn't want to even tell the story, because I told this to the therapist yesterday. She looks at me and she's like, Rachel, are you okay? And I'm like, thank you for asking. Oh, I'm gangster though I don't buy it. Okay, what's worse than this idealistic view? That's the thing, Zono X. And that I don't think, like, even with my mom too, even though you know all this stuff and they do all these horrible things to you, that's still your mom or that's still your dad. So it's still tough, right, to see clearly. Put men in the ground, but not me. I freaked out, but lost respect. Oh, but you witnessed it though, Maury. And that kind of witnessing, when you see someone it's that face. It was the face they make. It twists them and makes, Like ugly is not being fat or like, having a big nose, or ugly is a frequency. 100%. People make themselves ugly. The most beautiful girl in the world can be ugly if, based on that attitude or like the way they are. So the ugliness in his face when he was insulting me was something that I had seen before, right? I'll take you a step further, Maury Landry. Your pain is not an excuse to hurt people, right? Your hurt, your feelings do not matter more than anybody else's feelings. Just because you're a woman, just because maybe you've been victimized, just because of all this stuff, they do not matter more, right? You are not. You're beautiful, Snoochie Boochies. I can tell through the screen. Oh, you guys. Yeah, Maureen Lynch. And I'm sorry that you had to, because my hubby's had to deal with this, right? Like the aunt basically being an enabler of this. Oh, and you know what she did? You know what she did too? So I deactivated my Facebook because my mom's a big creep and she tries to like snoop on my stuff and tries to like be weird. And she has like 4 different Facebook accounts that she tries to be all weird about. So I deactivated my Facebook account. So I'm like, I really don't want to deal with this. I have TikTok, I have YouTube, I have Instagram, kinda. So that's enough. But his aunt goes to Kevin and is like, well, why did Rachel block me on Facebook? And he's like, you're nuts. You guys need to get off social media. Stop the doom scrolling, boomers. Stop it, right? Yeah, Maury. It's the hormones too. It's the hormones, Maury. It's because women don't do a good job of hormone health, right? So when things happen, like time of the month, like my period's coming up, I know that I get emotional. So it doesn't give you the right to fly off the handle over nothing and smash a bunch of stuff because you're a girl, right? Trust me, I have done it myself because I told you when coming off the pill, I wasn't prepared for it. And so all of this came out and so on one level, I could see how the pill could be a way of therapy for a short term for maybe some girls where you're finding the emotions too much and you just need something to just like stop it, right? My mother is from visiting your father, Rachel. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Gwen Stacy. And that's like, it's all very hard. I'm just giving myself a moment here because there's more to this story, but I just want to keep this to like, I don't think I'm going to be I'll do an end of a comic book read of this one to finish it off, but I'm almost done this story. So that happened. The aunt on the phone, I'm hearing this. My sister is 3 hours behind PST. Oh, Master says thank you for the donuts. I'm doing a little bit of personal story. We are going to get to the comic book read. I promise very soon. So my little sister, she's like working, right? She works for EA. The FIFA thing is a whole other thing too. Yes. So now, the biggest complication I find with this whole thing that happened with my father-in-law is the fact that my husband has estranged himself from his mother for about 20 years now because of the stories that his father told him. Now, if those stories are lies, you've now made a call to estrange someone and have bad faith in someone when it's not really based on something that's entirely true. So there's just a lot there where like the mom did stuff too, like it's like both sides there's issues, but like just because one parent is problematic doesn't make the other parent an angel, right? Except you're straight. How long ago was that, ZonoX, if you don't mind sharing? And does it get easier? Because I've only estranged myself for maybe 2 years now, and it's still difficult for me. And maybe you guys are right. Like with everything, it's like it doesn't really necessarily get easier. We just become stronger. And I am stronger in a lot of ways from being estranged because I don't have my mom's voice in my head all the time as much, right? Like telling me all these like critical things constantly that aren't real and all the lies and stuff, right? Since I was 13 back. Wow, since you were 13, Zono X, I'm sorry. You know, I feel like there's a common thread here for those of us who love our superhero stories. You know, there's this common there. I gotta run, but I gave you a follow. Thank you so much, Chris Edward. You are also amazing. Thank you for sharing your time and your sacred attention with me and listening. Thank you. Blessed. Yes. And also, too, more important than anything, Maury Landry, it's about having self-respect, right? And not letting anyone talk to you like that or treat you in a certain way or like let you feel like you deserve to be punished for something that's completely like insane, right? And then like, oh, I have to go along with it. No, you don't. It'll be tough sometimes, trust me, because it was tough for us, right? Like, but you know, the universe rewards bravery and you gotta just do it, right? So, where are we? Okay, yes. So we left, we're in the prairies, yay. So we're at my dad's, but now that I'm here, when I left back in the day, like 2009, I took 2 suitcases and nothing else. Oh, snoochie. Much love. Hand hearts to you too. It was like a neon one too. That's like the better hand heart. So it's been really hard being back, you guys. Like really good in a lot of ways, but really hard. Because I had a lot of old boxes, old stuff that I left behind when I moved, right? And so I had to confront and face little Rachel. And little Rachel had a lot to say to me about dreams that she has and like stuff that she's hoping that like now that we're old enough that we can do. Much love. Thank you, Zono X. Remember, I'm 41, you guys. So I've been around the block, but I haven't been able to have a childhood. And that's why I come back to comic books, because I'm doing this for her. I'm doing this for the inner child in me that never got to just be at home and not be studying constantly to be the straight A student valedictorian and being stressed all the time about life when it should be more about play, and that life is really a lot more beautiful than we think, than others allow us to believe that it is, because they have failed to see it in their own lives, right? So, yeah, welcome to the show, right? And you have to laugh, right? Otherwise, claymation. So I came back, and this all happened, as I said, at 4/20, April 20th. If you guys are familiar with Ancient Aliens, David Wilcox, that was the same day he also, he unalived himself. And I do think a similar thing was going on in terms of spiritual psychosis. I'm going to bring this back around now to when I was in grade 8. When I was in grade 8, I did a science project called electromagnetic radiation. Okay? The reason why I did this project was because growing up, my dad was a prof in comp sci, and he never wanted me or my sister to sit too close to the screen, right? Like that. Or close to the TV or too close to the computers. Because he's like, the radiation from the screens, you don't want to get too much of that. And I was like, okay, like, whatever. But because I grew up with computers my whole life, and this is in the 90s, right? No one else had computers, right? So up until like, remember when like AOL sent those like CDs and stuff? You get like free internet for a little while and stuff. Because my dad's not Asian. My mom's Asian. My dad's South African. My dad had to leave South Africa to go to school in Chicago because they had apartheid and he was half black. Yeah. So people think I'm smart because I'm Asian. It's not that. My mom's actually quite dumb. She thinks she's smart, but she's really not. She's like, used to love calling me stupid a lot. But, hey. Yeah. So you're not crazy. So I'm going to tell you. So this was way back. There's no cell towers back then, right? When did I graduate grade 8? 1999. So in 1999, I did a science project called electromagnetic radiation. And my dad had this little like box. Like in Chernobyl where like check the radiation. So it was like a little box that would tell a certain, I forget what it measured it in, but it measured electromagnetic EMF and all that kind of, yeah. So, so I decided I wanted to do a science project on electromagnetic radiation. I called it invisible pollution. And I took my little like electromagnetic radiation box. And I remember this because I still have the project somewhere here in these file folders. And this was in the middle of winter here in Winnipeg too. In like October, November, for about like 8 weeks, I went out to the power lines and I took measurements. I took measurements of like the electromagnetic radiation at different points and far away. And I hypothesized that the colder it got, the higher electromagnetic radiation there would be because of all of the heat and all the hydro everyone was using. That didn't end up being true. It could be for a number of reasons. But anyways, I did my project. Anyways, I got first place in my little school at St. Emile. And so they sent me to the provincial science fair. Okay. So I went to the provincial science fair. I was so excited. I'm like, I'm like with, like, cause I went to a small little Catholic school, right? So I'm going to be with all like the public school kids and everyone. So set up my little booth, all that kind of stuff. And I was like ready for it. You know what happened to me, you guys? This is at the University of Manitoba where my dad works too, in the gym there. Do you know what happened? Not one judge came to me. That whole day I was there from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. No one ever came. No one judged me. So my dad picked me up at the end. I was crying because I was not the only one from my school to be sent to the science fair, right? My friend Laura was sent. They did a different project, and a few other people. The top 3 from our school went to the science fair. So I was just crying. I kept it all in because I didn't want other people to know that no one actually came. So I told my dad this. My dad was pissed. He was pissed. I've never seen my dad like pissed before, but he was pissed. So I go home. I'm just like, all right. This actually kills my spirit quite a bit. I'm just like, so no one got to see him. I prepared my presentation. No one ever came. So, all right, whatever. I move on with life. My dad has done he went out and made a bunch of phone calls and complained a bunch. And so they invite me to the winner's circle at Polo Park Mall so that I can finally have my science fair project be judged. So we go to the winner's circle. I set up my little booth with all the winners, but they're all the gold medalists, right? So I go, and then they finally judge me. I have a picture of them, of the judges finally coming to my little booth and me doing the presentation. And then they give me a silver medal. So at least I guess the silver lining is that I ended up at the gold circle, the winner's circle, even though I only had a silver medal, right? But Frank Uriel, thank you for the gifts. I read it. Let me see here. How was your project? I read it. Did you read it? I don't remember. I mean, going back at it, it was in grade 8. So what I was writing about electromagnetic radiation, because people didn't know about it, they looked at it, it was like pseudoscience. That's the way I kind of read it. And I think at that main science fair, either A, I was blackballed, or B, they really just wanted to break my spirit so that I wouldn't go any further in looking into any of this. So I don't, right? But electromagnetic radiation, if we think of things like Wi-Fi and all the frequencies that now we have phones. This was back before phones. This was back before Wi-Fi. I still had dial-up internet and stuff, right? So now we have way more of these frequencies that may affect us in ways that we just don't know, because it's never been specifically studied. We've never taken... I have too much experience to realize that. Oh, go back here. They did you dirty. Oh, yeah, they did me dirty. I know that now. But back then, you don't think, when you're little, that like, how I cannot be that important to this story. But you guys, you are. I am. We all are. School books are all made by Epstein. Get out of here. Oh my gosh. But they were so silly about the bag. Well, anyways, my dad was all about the education. He was a prof. So like to him, that was like all that mattered. So that was just a story I wanted to throw in there, just because coming back to Winnipeg, a lot of old memories have like hit me that I literally forgot about. And so in parsing through a lot of this stuff, it's just been a lot. It's been a lot. I don't have all the answers, but I do think, and this is just a hypothesis, I do think they send just like in Final Crisis, how Darkseid had those frequencies, the anti-life equation that gets pushed through the media. I think the same thing happens here with the bad guys. And they don't want you to believe that that's possible, because like they don't want you to know what they're doing. Right? It's just like when Ozymandias lies to Rorschach about having cancer, and Rorschach's like, why did you lie to me? And Ozymandias is like, because I wanted you to do what I wanted. Obviously, right? So we, as empathetic, compassionate, lovely beings, would never do such a thing. So it can be very difficult to conceive of the fact that someone would do that to us. And that is why Dr. Manhattan gets lied to all the time, and he falls for it, right? The beanstalks grow here, yeah, you know it. I know it. You guys. I love how you put that. The magical beans, right? The magical stuff. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the weird thing that happened about Smallville, the Smallville connection, before we finish off, okay? So you guys know I play D&D every Thursday. And so I play D&D with my group now. But last Thursday, you guys, one of the guys in the group makes this picture. I'll post to you guys of our group. So I play as Mayari Moonchild. She's a moon elf. I named her after the Filipino moon goddess of the moon, right? But in the story right now, she's like missing. Her brother has like kidnapped her. And so I'm playing as another character named Felicia Shadowheart. So, in Forgotten Realms, there's Saloon and Shar, the white moon and the dark moon, and they're in like a perpetual battle of good and evil. Anyways, I'm just giving you guys background into the D&D campaign I'm playing, and I'm gonna hopefully live stream more of it so you guys can see the story. My DM is in the Ukraine, and he's the bomb. I love him. Love you, Cad. And D&D has been so wonderful for my mental health. Like, oh yeah. So in our little chat, one of the guys is like, who would you get to play Mayari in like a movie? And then people are like, Rachel would just play Mayari. I'm like, yeah, but if I were to pick an actress, I've always loved comics, even as a kid. Zono X. Yeah. I've always loved superhero stories. I've always resonated with like the ones who don't fit in, the ones who feel called to do something something, anything, even if it's just you, right? You do, yeah. And I feel like someone makes this, like when you end up with certain cards, you realize later why you were given those cards, right? You're given that life because you're strong enough to live it. I was big in here in Ireland, D&D. Oh, yeah. Or, you know, you guys, one of the guys in my campaign is leaving, and my dungeon master actually runs quite a few good campaigns. If you guys are new to it and want to get into it, I can put you in touch. Or you can play with me. So he asks, like, who would I get to play Mayari, Moonchild? I'm like, you know who I would love to get to play Mayari? Kristen Kruk. Right? Kristen Kruk. You know who Kristen Kruk is? She's Lana Lang in Smallville, right? And so people, because I play with guys from all over the world, they're like, who is that? Who's Lana? Who's Kristen Kruk? And I'm like, she's in Smallville. They're like, well, you know Smallville, but who's Kristen Kruk? So I send a message of her, like IMDb and all that kind of stuff. And we're like, oh, okay, I can kind of see it. So that's not the trippy part. Okay, so this was last Thursday. Literally 12 hours later, CTV Winnipeg posts a video about Kristen Kruk being a co-creator of a comic book set in Winnipeg. Go look it up. She loves Winnipeg. So she's best friends with a guy, a Winnipeg boy, his last name's Mooney, which is also kind of trippy too. But the Winnipeg, the legislative building and all that it's in the comic book. So that night said Kristen Kruk should play Mary Moonchild, and the next day she's talking about Winnipeg in a comic book called Black Star that she's working on. Oh no, Mooney Beats, no. Oh my gosh. I'm getting like full body chills. Oh my gosh, it's happening. The convergence. It's happening. So you guys are all gonna come over, right? I'm gonna build a big D&D thing in my backyard and we can all play in real life. I did just because it's too trippy. It's too trippy. So she has this whole video talking about her comic books that she's co-creating with this guy from Winnipeg. She's not even from Winnipeg. She's from BC. And she filmed, I forget which show she filmed here again, Burden of Proof. Oh, he's sleeping upstairs with hubby. They're waiting for me up there, actually. I'm in the basement right now, so I don't make too much noise. But that was my last trippy story, just because I love Smallville. I have the DVD of season 1 upstairs, like, with, like, you know, Clark Kent, like, with that S on his chest all, like, ripped and stuff. And I always loved Lana Lang. Right? So, anyways, that's funny. So, maybe, just maybe, I can get an interview. I think I heard about that, but I don't think I've seen them lately. How cool would it be if I read a Smallville comic and I got Kristen Kruk to guest star on it? Because if she loves Winnipeg, and if she comes down to visit, and you, like, literally, if you look up Black Star, Kristen Kruk, that comic book, it's crazy, right? Yeah, Rally does. Smallville Wonder Woman only appears in the comics. Oh, cool. There's a Smallville Wonder Woman. Hey, I'd love to catch that. Okay. If you can send me any links to that, I'll try to see if I can source some. I don't think I've seen the Power Rangers. I don't want to bring up Power Rangers, but I saw that comic book in the library, but I haven't seen Smallville. Yes, thank you, Zonax. Appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to finish off with you guys some bombshells, because speaking of alternate timelines, different universes, all that kind of stuff, the bombshells actually live in a universe where certain bad things don't happen, right? And certain other things do. So you end up with like a different lay of the land. Like, for example, Barbara Gordon Batgirl is literally a vampire in this version, right? But she's a good vampire. We all love our good vampires. Not the energy vampires. Those ones can go away. But I did want to read you guys the conclusion to this, because there's also a lot of this kind of stuff. And we all know that that's fan service on a level. Yeah, I'm going to read you guys the ending because it deals with a different version of Batman. I still do have the chills, you guys. Like, it'll be it won't be that long, you guys. We'll finish off the read because it'll be a nice loop to the story oh, Maury. Shucks. Don't. Okay. Also, we have, like, the girls of the Bombshells. I have a whole goal to do, like, you know, burlesque with, like, as these girls, right? I can't play every character. So, oh, hi, Rio Man. Welcome. We're going to do a little bit of a read of DC Bombshells. Oh, I don't know if we have. I'm good at tucking in, too, actually. I mean, who isn't, I guess? As long as you are tucked in, usually that's, like, a good thing. It's like hugs. You can't do a bad hug unless you're, like, not committing to it, right? Okay. So we'll start this panel right here. People of the Reach were at the gates of Berlin. Lay down your weapons. The dark veil of the night is torn, and its servants flee. So it, like, because Bombshells deals a lot with, like, the world and almost like a unification of it, it's like an alternate universe that's a bit kinder, I think. Oh, make sure the mirror doesn't fall here. Okay. Let's see here. And so that's in Zamzi, and then in Okinawa. And the hand that holds a sword cannot be offered in friendship or in mercy. And then we have Atlantis, the harbor of the refugees, cannot cradle the heads of the wounded or dying, nor embrace those found after so many years apart. The last witnesses stand to hear the confessions of a world that will soon no longer be. The dead go wherever the dead are thought to go, and perhaps they are happy there. And we who remain have still to choose. What happens now? The will in each of us is born free, and ours is the choice to kill, to heal, to destroy, to defend. You must choose what to do with the gift of your life. In the end, this gift is all you will have ever possessed. Your will, your story, your life. What did you do with all that was yours? And what of you will be carried forth into the world that still lives? Every breath, every heartbeat, you can change your story. You can choose what to make of yourself and your time in this world that so many have loved and so many have died for. So you can see that it's Zatanna and Constantine, right? Oh. The spear can become a hook to gather fruit for little children. The sword can become a plowshare and feed a generation that is yet to come. You are never so far gone that you cannot make of your life something better. And we will be here to help you with each step of that journey. We are the promise of the earth. We are the breakers of chains. And we that gather and mourn will not be haunted. We will grieve today, tomorrow, 100 years, and yet we will not ache for the world that is gone, but we will dream and we will work for how bright the future will be, where we can all at last belong. Love you too, Gwen Stacy. And it is late, but I do want to finish this. The war is over. Yeah. And so this is the best part. Wait for it. So now, click. This is 15 years later in Gotham City, 1960. I have had my fair share of solving mysteries. This is from Bruce Wayne's perspective. I've wanted to be I gotta change it to man voice, sorry, hold on. I've wanted to be a detective when I was a kid. Anytime I wasn't daydreaming about being some kind of bombshell. I listened to the war when I was a boy. The radio plays, the recaps, the legends of these women. These magnificent heroines who have made me who I am. A healthy, well-adjusted boy who had a very happy childhood. And then we have Selena DeGatti, the Catwoman. Come on, my Bruce Wayne. So remember, in this world, Bruce Wayne's parents are never killed. So he grows up happy and well-adjusted. So we have him here now. Hear me out one more time. The Bombshells, they bought us 15 years of peace. But now the world has moved on again and darkened Miss DeGatti. Please call me Selena. You've been pestering me for months, and at this rate, I won't have any more room for flowers. I guess Catwoman is always fascinating to Batman in any universe. After Lex Luthor and Lena Luthor, after the black hole, the fire in the sky, the end of the war, I picked up the pieces that Lex left behind. If I don't, someone was apt to get hurt. People might still get hurt, Miss Selena. There's a mighty cold war coming. The Supergirl and her Lois Lane have vanished from Moscow, they say. Kidnapped? Or on a secret mission? On Earth, or following some distant crisis deep in space. The peace has held for 15 years, but it may not last without Kara and Lois there to stop it. There's lots to be done. Where are they, Miss DeGatti? What became of the Bombshells? And so we have here. The last I saw of Zatanna and the Suicide Squad, they were forming a little coven of their own, invested in keeping cruel and foul magic at bay. A dark Justice League, if you will. Aquawoman and her improbable beloved still rule Atlantis, and it's a safe haven for many. The Amazons and the old world have drifted deeper and deeper into the mist of legend. They keep the ancient evils quiet so that no king beneath the black ever stirs again. Oh yes, I'm Gwen Stacy's TikTok mom. No, she's I know we're talking about mother wounds and whatnot, though. We're like soul mamas, right? And I think, it's like when you talk about your soul family versus your bio family, that kind of thing, your found family, your fauna. The Amazons in the old world have drifted deeper and deeper into the mist of legend. They keep the ancient evils quiet so that no king beneath the black ever stirs again. Harley and Ivy, of course, cute couple, are still hauling that mad circle of theirs all over creation, putting down mad dogs who are men and feeding monsters sugar out of the palms of their hands. And the Wonder Woman is a nomad, wandering the world, mysterious and unseen until she is needed. The old world passes into the gray. And now the space age has begun. Amanda Waller didn't face any charges for that little stunt in the South Pacific. That much I can tell you. She's got a position in the Department of Defense. So high up, I don't think it has a name, but no one has seen her lieutenants in a long time. Yes, it is Supergirl. We're just finishing up Bombshells. She knows there are other worlds out there. Now, we all do. Because of the space age, right? We know that there's different worlds. There's different universes, right? Dawnstar is the reason the continental United States is justifiably a fair bit smaller. And Frankie Charles is superintendent of West Point now. Aruna Shender, daughter of Chob and Jader Shend, born in the Battle of Britain, Aruna Shens. Vixen rules Zambies with Hawkgirl by her side. Talia and Cheetah are her agents in the world, preventing future empires and future conquests. And Renee never rests. She has gone home, so much of the world free. She asked me half a year ago for the blueprints of a 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air. And I have no doubt that soon she will achieve what she seeks. And there's my Black Canary. Black Canary and Ollie Queen travel. I get postcards from time to time. Italy, Japan, Zambia. I think she got what she wanted. Good for you, Dinah. Bumblebee and Felicity Smoke are at work at NASA now. Karen's got dreams of finding alien plant life out there. Space flowers full of medicine and honey to bring home if anyone can find cures out there. I reckon she can. And then they go on about like all the different Wonder Women, all the different ladies who have gone on, whatever happened to the Bombshells. But I do want to get to this part about Mr. Bruce Wayne. And Batwoman? And Kate Kane. I miss Kate Kane every day. I get letters from her sometimes. From her and Maggie and their dogs and their daughter. What I came to ask you, Selena, was what can I do? The world feels so close again to the tipping point. I meant this for her, for Kate's daughter, the girl in purple, for the little Flash, for Tamra or Tiffany Fox, and all the Batgirls and Wonder Girls who have yet to be born. So that when they are ready, you are there to help them. You are not our future Bruce Wayne. They are. But to hold back the tide until their day dawns, to use all your power and privilege and strength, to ready the way for them. I will train you. You weren't raised in trauma and darkness. In this world, you were raised on hope and love and inspiration. And to this Bruce, I would ask a question. What would you say to becoming the first new superhero of the space age? Right? 20 years ago, Batwoman saved my life. What she did, what they all did, saved us from the world that could have been. All those who fought and all those who served, all those who gave everything they had for a more peaceful world. I know Dawnstar's lessons, that this is but one world of many. And the story that unfolded here is not the story as it is elsewhere. But in every world, in every time that this crisis of conscience came to pass and people rose to fight back the darkness, I see you and I see your works and I see all you sacrificed, and I can only say thank you. And that's where we end. I do love the Bombshells, don't know X. They come from the whole like pinup era, right? And in some might say, wait, that was a really big golden age of superheroes. So I do love the whole, female power of it without it being this overt, almost like militarized feminism, right? So yes, everyone's sleeping. And I went way later than I intended. I told hubby, I'm like, I'll be an hour. It was way over an hour. But we had a good talk tonight, you guys. And I hope you enjoyed the read as much as I did. I know it wasn't as long as I usually do. I did a lot more personal storytelling, you guys. And so Gwen Stacy, thanks for staying for the whole time. And Snoochie Boochie, thank you. And thank you all of you guys for sharing your time with me, your energy with me, your attention with me. And remember, you guys, oh yeah, I totally have the heebie-jeebies, but I like to call them the tingles. It's like, when the universe gives you a wink, or you get just a little like nudge in the right direction, or the wind will hit you in a certain way, or I just feel the tingles. I can just tell, like when you say something and it's just right. I don't know, or when you feel people, right? So to all of you magic users out there, and all of you superheroes, and all of you starseeds and magical friends, I want you to remember, yeah, Brainy's still upstairs. He's got to get sleep, right? Everyone, you need sleep for this to work. So remember, you guys, to have great dreams, take the rest, take care of yourself, stay blessed, and remember, it takes true courage for you to play as exactly you in the cosmic game of life. And Moony Beats, you totally tripped me out today with all that. Let's talk more about your music too. I'm putting that in the movie. And DM me the Smallville comic, because maybe we'll get Kristen Kruk on this very show. How cool would that be, right? So remember, you guys, true courage. Play as exactly you, bar none, unapologetic, fully you, because guess what? The universe is counting on you. But no worries, I have your back, okay? So keep fighting the fight, keep doing your thing. I got you. Oh, thank you so much. Lots of love, guys. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, so we'll probably do a music DJ set. Won't be as this late though, but I will have to take a nap more than likely. All right, guys. Lots of love. Rally, thanks for liking the